Right, our next speaker before our open line is Iris Cupido, who is CEO of the SABC Foundation, and in her role, she engages with SABC stakeholders in respect of community, social, and investment initiatives for the SABC. Please welcome Iris to the stage.
Thank you. I was asked to speak for just 2 minutes asking me to speak for 2 minutes. Not quite possible, but let's try. On what makes South Africa, what makes us great? And to beg from one of our prolific speakers earlier, Brian Molefe, is his view that it's people that make South Africa great. I know one of the things that he stands for is that he said Transnet is not just about equipment, it's about people. So today I'm going to remind you that what makes South Africa great is very simply you. I'm privileged to share the stage with Brian, Nonkululeko. I was reading about her earlier days of working for her dad in a panel beating shop and where she started. And I've followed her quite a bit. I've read about her in some magazines and people that she's invested in. That's what makes South Africa great. We know Ketso. I know of Ketso for a very long time. I was very good friends with his wife as well. And Ketso did amazing things as a DG and then at RMB. And I'm honored that to speak with you today, Ketso. Emma, you have so much energy. You bring so much to the table. Thank you for you. I think South Africa is a diamond in the rough. I think that we know a lot from Google. We know that we have great weather, we have great spaces. We know that we have the most incredible man that ever lived, ever, in our lifetime, in the lifetimes to come, Mandela. I was hiking the Great Wall of China last year, and I was trying to explain that I'm from Africa, South Africa, Africa. Mandela, oh! That's the power of the man. Wow, I mean, right there, okay? We lived in his generation. For my sins, I did a reality TV program with Tokyo Sequale called The Apprentice. And I was privileged to have met him, and I'll never forget, after meeting him, I swore that I wouldn't wash those hands for days, but after a couple of days, I thought best I get a bath. But that's the power of Mandela. We have the weather, we have the land, we have the skills and capabilities needed to grow and manufacture different products in this country. Gauteng is South Africa's smallest province, but produces 34% of South Africa's GDP. We know this. South Africa generates 2/3 of Africa's electricity. Let's all breathe deeply. Load shedding, delete. But that's something powerful to know. Durban, where I'm from, is the largest port in Africa and the 9th largest in the world. We're here today to talk about Fortune 4, and we look at and this promise you I work at the SABC, and I only wrote these notes while I was sitting there, so nobody asked me to say this, but I think about Lotus FM and the people that work there, and I think about how just recently we raised over $1 million, I think, to buy shoes for their winter warmth campaign. I think about RSG. I'd never even heard of RSG, this Afrikaans radio station, until a friend and mentor, Brand Pretorius, was telling me the story of Amore, and where there was this young girl that phoned in and said there's no water in our community, and because of Amore and the power of media, bucket loads and truckloads of water because of a young girl calling in and saying, please come help us, there's no water where we're from. Radio 2000, I mean, their station manager is just on another level, always puts up his hand immediately to just say, I'm here, I'll help, I'll do this. He's just extraordinary. So all of these people, SAFM, we traveled to Northern Cape not so long ago to shine a spotlight on a community there and how we can help and make a difference. And through my work at the SABC Foundation, I'm privileged to work with these people. But South Africa as well, we're the only country to have hosted the Soccer World Cup and the Cricket World Cup and Rugby World Cup. I was watching a DVD the other day about people talking about how can they ever take the Soccer World Cup to Africa and South Africa and everyone's going to die, and wow, were they wrong. Can you think of any other place where we have 2 Peace Nobel Prize winners in the same street? That's something to be proud of. We know it, we see it all the time, but it's something to be proud of. We have Mrs. Ball's Chutney and Biltong and Coffee House and Lucky Star Tin Fish and Omar's Ras, and we have all these things. We have Nando's and made them famous and this country famous. We have 8 World Heritage Sites. We have Table Mountain and Robben Island. We have the whales and the most extraordinary jacarandas in Pretoria. We have Namaqualand and the Drakensberg and the Tsitsikamma. Being a hiker myself, I stand by my story that if God is in the details, then God lives on the whale trail. Having hiked there for 5 days last year, it is the most extraordinary place in the world. I can't even begin to describe it. And it's in the Western Cape. Its beauty defies magnificence. We're also a nation of entrepreneurs, like we've just found out here. But we also support spaza shops and vuvuzelas. We find heroes in the most unlikely places. What Google won't tell you is about Nkosi Johnson and his impact. Other people that they'll tell you about is Charlize Theron and Mark Shuttleworth. But there's also just ordinary people who feed their neighbors' kids and make a difference. I know about the pavement scholar on Empire Road who gives books out to people as they drive past. I know about the Jewish boys who stood up for Gaza. I know about Jordan van der Walt, who decided to feed hungry mouths and started at just 1 bag. He came to our church, a little white boy coming to a township asking for mealie meal for black people. He donated over 1 million bags of mealie meal. Did I mention that Jordan was 12? A young girl from Cape Town, I got the stories through somebody that wanted us to do a Touching Lives piece on her. She was driving with her mum home from school or wherever it was, and her mum happened to be a surgeon. And she saw this lady on the side of the road with a child, and she asked her mum to please go back and give her some food. And so her mum stopped and said, "Why are you here and what's the story?" And the little girl was listening to this lady talking about why she sits there and the baby, and she pleaded with her mum. Her mum was a single mum, to take this lady in at least for the night, and in the morning, because it's so cold, she can be on her way. And this little girl went home and took her mum's cell phone and started phoning all her mum's affluent friends and raised money and told them about this woman that's in their house or in their garden cottage or whatever it was. And this little girl was 13 and she wanted to make a difference. And over a space of 6 weeks, she raised enough money to build a house for this woman. Are we that generation? Are we raising that generation of children? I think about the guy who was hijacked in November last year, and I was hysterical in the road, and people were driving past me, and I was just besides myself. And I think about the guy that stopped and got me to a police station and got me to a hospital and got me home. And those are the heroes. Those are the people that make South Africa great. We have the mountains and the sea and the winelands and some of the best food in the world, from Franschhoek to Maboneng. Nothing beats downtown Josie, I tell you. Go there on a Sunday. We have the world's best land-based whale watching spot is located in Hermanus. It's the best in the world. We gave the world Gary Player and Ernie Els and Charles Schwartzel. I remember so clearly that green jacket. Afrikaans is the youngest official language in the world. We produce 80% of the world's platinum wine. We are among the top 10 wine-producing countries in the world. And UNISA is a pioneer of tertiary distance education and is the largest correspondence university in the world. I found that out on Google. But what we need to find out, and we always need to reflect on, are what are our positives? Oh, we wake up every day to TV and newspapers and radios and news bulletins, and we just bombarded with the negatives. Yes, we have challenges, and we have unemployment, and we have corruption, and we have poverty. But we also have unspeakable beauty, and we have people who do extraordinary things every day that nobody knows about to make the lives of others better. You gotta have an attitude switch in order to make our country better. You gotta see things differently. You can either be the one that moans that, oh, poor me, or you can be the one that says, in my lifetime, in this generation, on my watch, I'll make a difference. And that's what radio is about. Radio has the power and the medium to do that. And so do you. I'm reminded of this young boy I think his name was Stephen or something, that Stephen Sutton, that was told that he was terminally ill with cancer. And he sat down and he wrote a bucket list of how he wants to change the world and how he wants to raise money for poverty and for other children. And he wrote a bucket list of simple things like, I want to spend the weekend away with the boys, and I want to, enjoy more time with my family and movie night. And he was dying. And he was thinking, how can he live outside himself? We sometimes think Mandela was this amazing, powerful man. Mandela was a simple man who had an extraordinary gift to live for something bigger than himself. And so does Stephen, and so do you. We are the change agents we seek to make this country better. We can't just leave and go away. Go away. That's why there's an exodus of those coming back. This is our home. It's our birthright. This is our country. This is our South Africa. And it's up to you and to me and to us working together for the greater good. I'm so privileged and blessed that I work for the SABC Foundation, because every day, in a million ways, I meet extraordinary people that nobody hears about, that do extraordinary things. We are this generation's Gandhis and Mandelas and Martin Luther Kings. So look around you, everyone, this afternoon. The change our country needs is sitting next to you. I thank you.